They have underestimated us for too long. For decades, Africa has been treated like a pawn, used, manipulated, and silenced by powers that call themselves developed and civilized. But what they fear most is no longer silent. Africa is awake now. Africa is rising. We are not your colonies. We are not your suppliers. We are not your charity projects. We are sovereign nations with minds of our own, destinies of our own, and a history of resistance written in the blood of our ancestors. I come from that history. I carry it in my veins. When I speak against Western influence, I am not speaking out of hate. I am speaking out of love for my people, because every deal made in secret, every military base built without our consent, every so-called aid package with hidden conditions, all of it is designed to keep Africa dependent, divided, and down. But we are no longer begging for seats at their table. We are building our own. Look at how they react when we talk of unity, true African unity. They panic. They call us radicals, extremists, threats. Why? Because they know that a united Africa, free from their economic chains and military manipulation, would be powerful beyond their control. I am not afraid of sanctions. I am not afraid of their media lies. I am not afraid of being called a dictator by those who have funded dictatorships for generations. My fear is only this, that we may hesitate when courage is needed most. We are choosing our path, a path that puts our people before profit, a path that chooses dignity over dependence, a path that breaks the back of neo-colonialism once and for all. They say we are young. Yes, I am young. But youth is not weakness, it is fire, and that fire is spreading. To the African youth, you are not the future, you are the now. You are the generation that will no longer accept crumbs while others feast on what is ours. You are the ones who will plant new flags, flags that don't bow to Paris, to Washington, or to anyone else. Africa does not need permission to be great. It only needs to remember who it is. Let them write their headlines. Let them hold their meetings. Let them whisper in fear, because what is coming is not just a political shift. It is a spiritual one, a mental one. A liberation that cannot be assassinated, bought, or silenced. We are not anti-West. We are pro-Africa, and that is the greatest threat to their control. We are not here to ask, we are here to lead. Africa must reclaim its sovereignty, politically, economically, and culturally. We will no longer allow foreign powers to dictate how we govern, how we trade, or how we think. Our decisions must be made in Ouagadougou, not in Paris or Washington. For far too long, our nations have operated under the illusion of independence. Flags were raised, anthems composed, presidents elected, yet our economies remain designed for export, our currencies tied to foreign banks, our leaders pressured behind closed doors by forces that do not have the interests of Africa at heart. That is not sovereignty, that is managed dependence, and it ends now. Political sovereignty begins when the will of the people outweighs the influence of foreign embassies and hidden hands. Burkina Faso, and indeed all of Africa, must reject the idea that legitimacy comes from the approval of international organizations or Western media. Legitimacy comes from our people, from their voices, their votes, and their sacrifices. We will not shape our constitutions or our policies based on what pleases foreign governments. If they do not live in our villages, if they do not bleed in our battles, they do not get to decide our future. They call our transitions illegitimate. They label our movements undemocratic. But let me ask, what democracy is it when billion-dollar corporations dictate the price of our natural resources? What freedom is it when foreign armies occupy our soil in the name of security while our people die in silence? No. Real democracy begins when a nation governs itself, not under threat, not under aid conditions, not under the watchful eye of former colonizers. Real freedom is the ability to say no and mean it. Economically, sovereignty means ending the era where Africa is the warehouse of the world. We will not continue to export raw gold, raw cotton, raw cocoa, only to import the finished products at 10 times the price. That is theft disguised as trade. We will process our own materials, we will invest in our own industries, and we will retain the value of what our land produces. The era of resource extraction without justice is over. The CFA franc is a symbol of that economic submission, a currency created and controlled by outsiders, designed to ensure that African economies remain tethered to the interests of Europe. We cannot build an independent future with a colonial tool in our hands. We will replace it, not just with a new currency, but with a new economic vision, rooted in cooperation, self-reliance, and regional unity. To be economically sovereign also means prioritizing food over foreign luxury, land over loans, local business over multinationals. We must support our farmers, not through speeches but through real policy, access to land, modern tools, irrigation, and above all, protection from exploitative markets. No country is free if it cannot feed itself. No nation can call itself independent while importing basic necessities that it has the capacity to grow. Hunger is not a natural condition in Africa. It is a political consequence of wrong priorities and foreign-designed economics. And culturally, perhaps the deepest and most dangerous form of colonization is the one that happens in the mind. When our children are taught that power speaks only in French or English, when our beauty is defined by standards that come from Hollywood, when our youth dream more of escaping to Europe than building Africa, this is not just a loss of identity, it is the erasure of generations. To be culturally sovereign is to control the narratives about who we are. It is to teach our histories with pride, the real ones, not the filtered, rewritten versions handed to us by colonial schools. It is to elevate our languages, our thinkers, our writers, our warriors, and our revolutionaries. It is to know that before colonization, Africa had civilizations, laws, medicine, architecture, and after colonization, we still have the spirit to rise. We must decolonize our education, our media, our arts, not by banning foreign content, but by empowering local voices. A continent of over 1 billion people should not depend on a handful of foreign outlets to define its image to the world. We must own our stories and tell them with fire and truth. This struggle is not easy. The chains we are breaking are not made of metal. They are made of contracts, propaganda, and habits passed down through generations. But we are breaking them nonetheless. It begins with conviction, and it grows with courage. It is a daily fight in our policies, in our classrooms, in our markets, and in our hearts. To those who say it is dangerous, that we are risking too much, I ask, what is more dangerous than living without control of your own destiny? What is more risky than trusting your future to those who have exploited your past? We are not extremists, we are realists, and the reality is simple. No one will give us sovereignty. We must take it. And when we do, not just in Burkina Faso, but in Mali, in Niger, in Congo, in Senegal, in every village and every city, then Africa will no longer be the world's raw material source, its silent labor force, its backup market. It will be what it was always meant to be, a continent that stands tall, speaks with its own voice, trades on its own terms, and walks in its own light. That is the Africa we are building. And nothing, no threat, no sanction, no headline will stop us. The youth are no longer followers, they are the leaders of this revolution. It is the African youth who must take control of their destiny. No more migration dreams, no more waiting for jobs that never come. Build, organize, lead. I speak not only to the youth of Burkina Faso, but to the youth across the entire continent. You have been told that your future lies somewhere else, that greatness is something you must chase across oceans, that opportunity is always out of reach unless you abandon your language, your soil, your people. This is a lie. This lie has stolen our minds, our strength, our imagination, but the time has come to wake up. Because the Africa we want will not be built by those who run from it. It will be built by those who stay and fight for it. You are not the burden they say you are. You are not the unemployed problem. You are not the lazy, unskilled generation they try to portray in their statistics and studies. You are the heartbeat of this land. You are the energy that can power factories, the minds that can design our future cities, the hands that can cultivate our fields, and the voices that can speak truth in every language spoken from Cape to Cairo. They call you lost youth, but I say you are the generation that is found in identity, found in purpose, and found in courage. The ones who refuse to kneel when they are told to bow, the ones who ask why when silence is demanded, the ones who organize in the shadows when no one is watching, building movements, growing knowledge, creating art, starting businesses with nothing but vision and grit. That is not weakness, that is power. We will no longer tolerate an Africa where our brightest young minds are forced to cross deserts and seas, to wash dishes in countries that once looted their ancestors. We will not accept the graveyards of Libya, the cages of Europe, or the humiliating silence that comes with being treated like a problem in lands that caused our problems. Our youth are not cargo, they are the architects of a new Africa. But with this truth comes responsibility. If you know you are the leaders, then you must lead with discipline, with vision, and with unity. You must reject the shallow life of consumerism that has been sold to you by social media. You must stop chasing the lives of influencers and start becoming builders of substance. Our liberation is not a trend, it is a duty. Use your energy not for division, not for tribalism, not for copying the West, but for constructing systems that serve our people. If the schools do not teach you what you need, teach yourselves. If the governments do not create the jobs, create your own cooperatives, your own platforms. Learn agriculture, learn technology, learn how to turn your ideas into reality. You do not need billions, you need belief, you need each other, and above all, you need to know this: no one is coming to save us. The systems that benefit from our weakness will never help us become strong. The politicians who serve only themselves will not step aside easily. The multinationals that take our gold, our oil, our lives, they will not hand it back willingly. That is why you must be organized, not angry, without direction, not rebellious, without cause. You must be strategic. You must understand that revolution is not just a moment, it is a process. It is built in communities. It is sustained by discipline. It is defended by unity. Do not wait for titles. Do not wait for someone to call you a leader. Lead from wherever you are, in the classroom, in the street, on the farm, online, in your art, in your daily choices. Leadership is not a position, it is a posture. It is the decision to say, I will not participate in my own oppression. I will not contribute to the destruction of my own future. I will build, no matter what. And to our young women, your place is not behind anyone. Your voice is not secondary. You are not here just to support the struggle. You are the struggle. You are the backbone of resistance. You raise families, organize communities, and carry burdens no one sees. Now it is time you are also seen, leading movements, owning land, writing laws, and commanding respect. Any revolution that leaves you behind is not a true revolution. This is our era, not theirs, not the colonizers, not the corrupt, not the outsiders. Ours, and the youth, are not waiting anymore. They are marching, not with empty slogans but with real demands. They want schools that teach truth, jobs that have meaning, leaders who are accountable, and a continent that honors them, not exploits them. We must give them space, we must give them tools, but most of all we must get out of their way, because this generation is not afraid. And that is what terrifies those who rely on fear to keep us down. Africa's future does not lie in migration offices or embassy lines. It lies in the hands of those who refuse to leave, in the hands of those who plant when others flee, who organize when others give up, who stay not because it's easy, but because they know that dignity is not found in escape. It is built with sacrifice. This is your revolution. This is your time. Do not let anyone, foreign or domestic, steal it from you. You were born for this. Now rise. We will remove all military and economic instruments of neo-colonial control. Foreign military bases, exploitative mining contracts, and debt traps are the chains of modern slavery. We are breaking them, one by one. No free nation allows foreign soldiers to patrol its streets. No sovereign people accept the presence of foreign armies who answer to foreign flags, who operate with impunity, who build compounds on our land without our full consent. What kind of freedom is this, where our skies are watched by foreign drones, our cities mapped by foreign intelligence, and our leaders forced to justify decisions before embassies instead of before their own people? It is not freedom, it is a shadow of occupation, hidden behind the language of partnership and peacekeeping. But I tell you now, we are not at peace when our peace is controlled by those who profit from our chaos. They say they are here to protect us, but I ask, protect us from what? Or from whom? Our villages still burn, our people are still slaughtered, our borders are still violated. The truth is simple, they protect their interests, not our lives. They defend the routes that lead to our gold. not the roads that lead to our schools. Their presence is not about security, it is about control. And so with dignity and clarity, we are saying enough. These bases will go, their flags will come down, their influence will be dismantled, piece by piece. But military presence is only the visible part of the control. The deeper chains are in the contracts signed in quiet rooms, under pressure, without transparency. Our minerals are stolen not with guns, but with pens. Agreements that sell our gold for a fraction of its worth. Deals that give away our land for generations, just so we can access a few million in short-term loans. Corporations that come to our soil, extract billions, and leave behind poisoned rivers, broken communities, and empty promises. This is not development, this is extraction. This is colonialism wearing a business suit, speaking a new language, but serving the same masters. We must no longer accept contracts that rob us of our future. Every agreement signed under coercion, under lies, under corrupt influence, it will be reviewed. It will be renegotiated or removed entirely. The wealth of Burkina Faso belongs to its people, not to shareholders in foreign capitals, and this principle will not be compromised. Debt is another weapon, a silent one. They lend us money, then tell us how to spend it. They give with one hand and take 10 times more with the other. Conditions are attached. Privatize your land, cut subsidies for your farmers, open your markets to our goods, and accept foreign advisors who tell you how to run your country. And when we fail to repay, as they expect, they come for what matters most, our sovereignty. We are not against cooperation, but we are against chains. Loans must serve our development, not our dependence. If we borrow, it must be on terms we define. If we engage with others, it must be based on mutual respect, not on hidden agendas and economic sabotage. Our budget will no longer be written in the language of the IMF. Our future will no longer be mortgaged to feed someone else's system. To those who say this is risky, I say, what is more dangerous than submission? What is more costly than generations born in a land rich with resources, but condemned to poverty? Our minerals fund skyscrapers in distant cities. Our diamonds shine in palaces far from our villages. Our oil fuels economies that turn around and tell us we need aid. This cycle is not broken by negotiation alone. It is broken by decisive, unapologetic action. We must build new institutions that serve us, African banks that invest in African priorities, regional alliances that protect African markets, trade systems that reward local production and regional circulation. We have what we need: fertile land, intelligent youth, vast resources, strong hearts. What we lack is not capacity. It is the will to break the system designed to keep us begging. That will has arrived. Our soldiers must defend our people, not foreign interests. Our economies must serve our citizens, not foreign stock markets. Our policies must reflect our realities, not foreign forecasts. That is what this moment demands, not half measures, not negotiations for better terms of exploitation, but a complete and final break with the systems that have robbed us for too long. This is not a campaign of anger, it is a movement of clarity. We are not driven by hatred for others, but by love for ourselves. We want peace, but peace with dignity. We want trade, but trade with justice. We want allies, but not masters. Anyone who respects that is welcome at our table. But those who come with threats, with ultimatums, with schemes, they will find that Africa is no longer asleep. Burkina Faso may be small in geography, but we are not small in spirit, and when we say we will be free, we mean it. We do not say it for applause, we say it for our children, for the ones who deserve to grow up on land that belongs to them, under skies free of foreign guns, with leaders who answer only to them. This is what we fight for, and we will not stop. We are tearing down the last pillars of an empire that pretended to leave but never truly did. We are walking out of the shadow of colonialism, not with bitterness, but with fire. And in that fire we are forging a new path, for Burkina Faso, for Africa, for the right to decide, to own, to be. Pan-African unity is not a slogan, it is the only way forward. Burkina Faso cannot stand alone, Mali cannot stand alone, Niger cannot stand alone, but together as one front, we are unbreakable. This is not just an idea born from desperation, It is the logical conclusion of history, of resistance, and of struggle. The colonizer knew this truth before we did. That is why they divided us with lines drawn on maps by men who had never set foot on our soil. That is why they gave us different languages, different flags, different currencies, not to celebrate our diversity, but to weaponize it against us. They succeeded in making us believe that our differences were walls, not bridges, and for too long, we played by those rules. But today, we are tearing those illusions apart. When we speak of unity, we do not mean blind conformity. We do not ask Mali to become Burkina Faso, or Niger to erase its identity. We are not merging borders, we are merging purpose. We are aligning direction. Because when your neighbor is under attack, and you remain silent, you will be next. When your brother is exploited and you say nothing, the same hand will come for you. This is not a time for silence, it is a time for solidarity. Our enemies are coordinated, their companies work across borders, their military alliances stretch across oceans, their banks operate without flags, but they want us to remain fragmented, suspicious of each other, competing for crumbs from their tables. They want each African nation to beg separately, to negotiate from a place of weakness, to accept whatever deal is offered out of fear of standing alone. But we are not alone anymore. When Burkina Faso speaks, it now speaks with Mali. When Niger acts, it acts with us. This is the new language of resistance, not isolation, but alliance. We share intelligence, we coordinate our defenses, we strategize our economies, we understand that what affects one of us affects all. Terrorism knows no borders, poverty knows no borders, exploitation crosses every line drawn in the sand, so our response must also be borderless, united in thought, in policy, in will. Pan-African unity is not a romantic dream, it is a strategy of survival and sovereignty. It means building our own institutions, not relying on those designed by others for their benefit. We must have our own security structures, our own communication systems, our own legal frameworks that reflect our values. Why should we continue to take orders from those who once enslaved us? Why must our currencies be printed in foreign capitals? Why must our people seek justice from courts that have never defended the African cause? Unity means economic interdependence rooted in justice. We must trade with each other, build regional supply chains, process our raw materials not in Europe or Asia, but in West Africa, Central Africa, and beyond. Let Mali's cotton be refined in Burkina Faso. Let Niger's uranium power African energy. Let our oil fuel African machines, not foreign wars. When we keep our value within the continent, we build power. When we depend on ourselves, we are no longer at the mercy of those who see us as a market and not a people. They will try to divide us. They already are. They send their diplomats to whisper lies in the ears of our leaders. They use their media to portray us as unstable, dangerous, unreasonable. They support proxies and mercenaries to destabilize our progress. But we have seen through it all. We know now that their fear is not terrorism, it is unity. Because a united Africa does not need their protection. A united Africa does not need their loans. A united Africa does not ask for permission, it leads. But unity is not built in speeches alone. It is built in the trenches of work, in the humility of collaboration. It is built when we choose dialogue over ego, when we recognize that no single nation can liberate the continent. That burden is too heavy for one shoulder, but together we carry it with strength. It is built when our soldiers train side by side, when our farmers share knowledge, when our students learn in the languages of Africa and not only those of former empires. The road is not easy. We will face sabotage. We will face pressure. They will use sanctions, isolation, even military threats. But let me say clearly, no external pressure can match the internal force of a people who have chosen to rise. We are not afraid, not because we are reckless, but because we are ready. Ready to suffer if we must, but never to surrender. And to the rest of Africa, the youth in Senegal, the workers in Ghana, the elders in Congo, the women in South Africa, the farmers in Sudan, your fight is our fight. Your liberation is ours. This unity is not limited to 3 or 4 countries. It is the seed of a continental awakening. We are planting it with action. You are invited to water it with your courage. It will grow because it is rooted in truth. This generation will not die waiting. We will not pass this burden to our children. We are not interested in being a footnote in someone else's book. We are writing our own chapter in our language, with our ink, and with our blood if necessary. Pan-Africanism is not a relic of the past. It is the weapon of the future, and with it, we will not just resist. We will win. We are not anti-West. We are anti-domination. If the West respects our sovereignty, we can coexist. But if they continue to treat Africa as a tool for their interests, they will meet resistance, organized, united, and unstoppable. Let me be clear, this struggle is not against any people or culture. It is against a system of domination that has been imposed on us for centuries. The West has contributed many things to the world: ideas, technology, innovation, and we do not reject those contributions. We reject the attitude that Africa must always be subservient, that our resources are theirs to take, that our voices are mere echoes in decisions that shape our futures. We want respect. We want equal partnership. We want relations based on mutual benefit, not exploitation. We are willing to work with anyone who approaches us with honesty and respect for our rights as sovereign nations. We do not believe in closing doors or building walls. We believe in opening new ones, but on terms that recognize our dignity and our place in the world. However, for too long, the West has treated Africa as a playground for its own ambitions. Our wealth has been extracted to fuel their economies. Our leaders have been chosen or removed to suit their geopolitical games. Our people have been marginalized or ignored unless they serve a particular agenda. This is not partnership. This is domination. We see this in trade agreements that benefit their companies far more than our farmers. We see it in military interventions disguised as peacekeeping, but serving to secure foreign interests. We see it in media narratives that portray Africa as helpless or dangerous, never as the vibrant, complex continent it truly is. This treatment must end. If the West respects our sovereignty, if it acknowledges that Africa is not a colony, not a resource depot, not a market to be manipulated, then there is room for coexistence. We can share knowledge, trade goods fairly, collaborate on security, and learn from each other. We can work together to address global challenges like climate change, pandemics, and economic inequality. There is much to gain from mutual respect. But make no mistake, if the West insists on continuing its domination, on interfering in our affairs, on imposing leaders and policies against our will, it will find resistance. Not disorganized protests or fleeting outrage, but organized, united, and unstoppable resistance. A resistance grounded in the shared history of struggle and resilience. A resistance fueled by the desire for true independence. This resistance will not be about confrontation for its own sake. It will be about protecting our people, our land, and our future. It will be about ensuring that no foreign power can dictate the course of African nations. It will be about reclaiming what was taken politically, economically, and culturally. We are prepared for this struggle because we understand that freedom is not given, it is taken. It is not a gift, it is a right earned through sacrifice and determination. And we are ready to make that sacrifice. We are ready to stand firm, to organize our communities, to strengthen our institutions, and to build alliances that support our sovereignty. To those in the West who truly want partnership, we extend a hand. But to those who would maintain domination, we say, do not underestimate the strength of a people determined to be free. Africa is awakening, its leaders are rising, its youth are mobilizing, its spirit is unbreakable. We are not enemies of progress, we are defenders of our own destiny, and that destiny will not be shaped by outsiders. It will be shaped by Africans, for Africans, and by Africans with the world as partners on equal footing. This is our message to the West and to the world: respect Africa's sovereignty, honor its people, and work with us as equals, or face a continent united in its determination to be free. We will no longer accept anything less. Our strength is in our people, our land, and our memory. We will not erase the past, we will learn from it. We are the children of Sankara, of Lumumba, of Nkrumah, and we carry their fire forward. The past is not a burden but a foundation. It is the source of our resilience, the wellspring of our courage, and the map for our future. To forget our history would be to forget who we are and why we fight. The struggles of our ancestors were not in vain, they were the first steps in a long journey toward true freedom. We stand on their shoulders, and it is our duty to carry their dreams across the finish line. Thomas Sankara taught us to believe in ourselves, to reject the chains of dependency, and to value dignity above all else. He showed us that liberation begins within, that it is not granted by others, but claimed by the people. Patrice Lumumba reminded us that freedom cannot be partial and that true independence requires sovereignty over our resources and decisions. Kwame Nkrumah envisioned a united Africa, a continent where the strength of many would build the future of all. These leaders did not speak only for their times, their words are alive, echoing in every corner of Africa today. We do not idealize the past blindly. We recognize the mistakes, the betrayals, and the missed opportunities, but we also recognize the spirit, the unbreakable spirit that persevered despite every obstacle. This memory is a call to action, a source of inspiration, and a guide to avoid repeating what has failed us before. Our people are our greatest asset, the young woman working tirelessly in the fields, the student studying under candlelight, the artisan crafting with skilled hands, the mother teaching her children their language and history. These are the true pillars of our strength. They carry the legacy of those who fought before and will be the architects of what comes next. Our land is not just soil and minerals, it is a living storybook. It holds the footprints of our ancestors, the battles fought for freedom, and the dreams yet to be realized. We will protect it fiercely, not just because it feeds us, but because it is a part of our identity. To lose our land would be to lose ourselves. This memory, this collective consciousness, binds us across generations and borders. It is what makes us recognize a fellow African in another country, in another language, in another struggle. It is what fuels our unity and our determination. It reminds us that we are not alone, that our fight is shared, and that our victories will be collective. In this memory, we find the courage to confront present challenges without fear. We remember the sacrifices made, and we honor them by pushing forward. We understand that the path to liberation is never smooth, but it is always worth walking. The fire that Sankara lit, the voice that Lumumba raised, the vision that Nkrumah held, these are flames passed from hand to hand, kept alive by every act of resistance and hope. Our strength lies also in our culture, our languages, our music, our traditions. These are not relics of the past, but living, evolving expressions of who we are. They connect us to the earth and to each other in ways that no foreign ideology can replace. They remind us that we are more than statistics or resources. We are a people with soul and history. We will teach our children these stories, not as distant myths, but as living truths. We will show them that they are heirs to a legacy of courage and dignity. We will prepare them to continue the struggle, not as a burden, but as a proud responsibility. Because they will be the ones to build the Africa of tomorrow, an Africa that stands tall, proud, and free. The past gives us patience as well as strength. We know that change takes time. We know that empires do not fall overnight, nor does true independence come with ease, but the fire we carry is steady and enduring. It will not be extinguished by setbacks or silence. It will burn through the darkest nights, guiding us toward the dawn of a new era. Our strength is in this unity of purpose, the people who believe, the land that sustains, and the memory that fuels our passion. Together these form an unbreakable foundation. No external force can destroy what is rooted so deeply in identity and hope. We honor the past not by clinging to it but by building upon it. We take the lessons learned and forge new paths, adapting to the challenges of our time without losing sight of who we are. This is how we turn memory into power. This is how we transform history into a living, breathing force that propels us forward. We are the children of those who refuse to bow. We are the inheritors of dreams that could not be silenced. We carry their fire, not as a burden, but as a torch. A torch we will pass future generations, so they too may walk with strength, dignity, and freedom. This is our promise, to never forget, to never surrender, and to never stop fighting for an Africa that is truly free, free in its land, free in its people, and free in its memory.